Nelson, Assistant Director of Alumni Engagement. I am here at the Horticulture Center with Jessica Chambers, the Director. She's going to show you the beautiful grounds out here at the Hort Center.
Thank you, Juliana, for featuring the ISU Horticulture Center today. It is my pleasure to talk to everybody about the gardens. This is a busy month for us in June. It's plant, 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 weed, 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 and then mulch, mulch, mulch. So I like to be able to be here today and share that with you is really wonderful. Just a little background about the Horticulture Center. It is part of the Department of Agriculture at ISU. It is an outdoor laboratory for our students at ISU, and not only in horticulture and agriculture, but really for students in any discipline across campus can use the center. So we've had students in fine arts and communications and geography, geology. So any discipline can come out here and do projects. They can have classes out here. They can come and just enjoy the gardens or volunteer. The other two components to the center, there's research that takes place. A lot of that is from the Department of Biology. And then the third thing is that all of you can come and enjoy the gardens and see what we're up to from day to day. And you can kind of see the gardens transition from May, when we are out here full time, all the way into our annual fundraiser, which this year it's September 11th and 12th. That's our autumnal festival. That's our main fundraiser. And we kind of showcase everything that weekend. So we work really hard to make everything look really nice for that weekend. Now at the center, every year we have a different theme, and some of you might know that. We've had a lot of fun themes in the past. And we really do that, I think, in great part because it's just great for the staff and the crew to learn about plants in a different way. And when we learn, we want to share that with everybody. And there's just so many fascinating aspects to plants. So, you know, we've had wicked plants in the past. We did a circus theme one year. We did a plant explorer theme. Well, this year, our theme is the Rainbow Connection. Juliana's going to hold our poster up for us that marketing did for us. It's the Rainbow Connection, celebrating people, plants, and their relationships. And thank you so much for doing that. And we kind of wanted to take a different look at the rainbow. You know, it means a lot of different things to people. And so our take was maybe not as literal as when you think of rainbow garden, you think of, like, you know, all the Roy G. Biv in that order, you know, red, orange, yellow, and so forth. So we kind of wanted to look at it a little bit different. And one of the main features this summer with our theme is a series of color gardens. So like right behind me, you're going to see pink. At the entrance, you're going to see all of the colors. That as you pull in here, you'll see every single color represented in those gardens. But then we also have red, orange, yellow, white, purple, green, black. And we usually have a chocolate garden in the children's garden. And hopefully, depending on weather and everything, we'll get that in as well. So it's just kind of a different way to feature. We were drawn, I think, to this theme because, you know, plants connect us all. We all have some type of relationship with plants. And I mean, I can say personally, you know, I have I'm a vegetarian. I like vegetables. You know, I love at Christmas time a Fraser fir. I love flowers. When I go out to nature, and whether it's, you know, a lake or mountain or ocean or our beautiful native prairies, that I connect to that, and that means something to me. And I think for everybody, you have some type of relationship with plants. And that not only spreads here within our own communities, but globally across the world. People have different ways that they celebrate, or they mourn, or they eat, or they build with plants. There's just different ways that we all deal with plants. And that's really what we're trying to get across this summer and into that festival in September. We just want to share the different ways that people celebrate plants, you know, or whatever, they eat plants, or the way they look at plants, or the way a lot of people, when you mourn, you have plants, you know, when you create art, you have plants. So that's kind of the idea for the whole semester. At this point, I really want to share with you that these gardens, as much as possible, we try and get students to be a part of the gardens. So this year I had one of our horticulture students that designed several of the gardens. She designed the entrance, the rainbow gardens, and then our black garden. And I have an example of her design. This is what we use at the entrance to drop in all of the plants. But Katie spent the spring semester researching, kind of get an idea of what color represents in different cultures and different places around the world. Then she designed those couple beds, and then the third thing she did was she grew a lot of these plants in our greenhouse at ROP. So it was a very inclusive project. Unfortunately, she's off this summer for an internship, but when she comes back, hopefully this fall, she'll see what all the growing that she did and how wonderful the gardens look. So, like I said, this garden behind us is pink. I also want to just talk a little bit right now. The sculptures behind here are a salute to our native Illinois prairies. These are 6 of the more common native prairie plants that you find in prairies. Okay, so we're here at our volunteer gardens. These gardens are dedicated to all the people that come out and help us really on a weekly basis at the center, and really are an integral part of how this little center works. We're looking at also the theme. We were talking about our theme, the Rainbow Connection, celebrating people plant connection, and we have a series of color gardens. So you're looking over here at yellow, behind me is orange, and then over there is red. Those are 3 of the main colors here up on the slope. We were talking about how students get involved, and the one student, Katie, that was talking about, she's done research on the different colors, and so later in the summer we'll have signage up. It's going to look something kind of like this. Talk about the color, but really kind of what are the characteristics of how these colors are used in our culture, how they're used in different other cultures. And I wanted to share one example for you. So we're looking at one of our common garden bedding plants. This is the marigold. And it's used in different cultures to celebrate different things. For example, they're used in garlands and many Indian festivals, weddings, and religious events. The garlands are called torana. They're also used in Mexico. The marigolds are considered the flower of the dead, and they decorate their altars with marigolds on the Day of the Dead. So this is an example of something that we'd like to highlight at the festival. So you might see a nice display that has interpretive information on that. And we have a whole bunch in all the different gardens that we want to share for that festival. So another key component during the summer is having enough staff to run 23 acres. And while we are dependent on the agriculture department to help us with one student, we really look for sponsors to help us to get more students to work out at the center. So this summer, we actually have a nice sized crew of mixed students that have our horticulture majors, students in recreation management. We have a couple grad students and one alum. So it's really a mixed group, and that all brings a lot of help that's needed to the gardens, but also kind of interesting points of views for us when we're working in the gardens and trying to get new ideas. All right, so now we're in the center part of the Horticulture Center, and there's several gardens around us. So the one right behind me, this is the herb garden, and it's a collaboration with the Master Gardeners of McLean County. And this is the herb group that helps to take care of this garden. They come out, they help us weed, they help us cut back, and they help us to educate about herbs here within McLean County. And as you can see, you probably guessed what color they got for the theme this year. They got purple. So yes, there's other colors in the herb garden, but we really tried to focus on purple as part of that theme. This is a really pretty garden to come sit and just look at all the different things that are blooming and learn just really some fascinating things about herbs. Now, also in this area, in the center part, we have our pinetum. And a pinetum is a collection of cone-bearing plants. Maybe some of you know that this year we did a hatch fundraiser to extend our pinetum. It was originally 5 phases, planned as 5 phases. We had almost phase 1 done, and then this last hatch campaign helped us to raise funds for the next 2 stages. So some of that's going in. By September, everything should be in and look marvelous. So really, as the summer progresses, people that come out and look at the pinetum, because this is really a beautiful collection of textures and shapes. And I think most people are used to like yews and junipers in their yard, but there are really so many beautiful conifers. I always like to also to talk to people about the different gardens that we have in terms of, we have a vegetable garden, a grain garden, and a fruit garden. And I know I always like to quote the author Amy Stewart, who said, "Life's short, plant everything." And we really try and do that at the center because I think it's really important for people to connect to the type of plants that they need for every day. So the grain garden does a nice job of that. We plant our grain garden, just got planted last week, a little bit trounced with the rain, but we try and plant things like oats and corn and flax and sorghum and wheat and buckwheat I see in there. So as the summer progresses, that people can come and look at these plants and then learn about these plants. Also, we have our textile garden. So in the textile garden, we're growing plants like cotton, flax. We also have some other fiber plants, including eucalyptus and the yucca plant. Have all been used for fibers. So again, making that connection with, you're wearing cotton. This is what a cotton plant looks like. It's actually quite a beautiful plant, beautiful flower, because it's in the hibiscus family. So a really beautiful flower. And most people have never seen cotton. And then the last garden I'd say in this area that is really noteworthy is our white garden, our moon garden. So we're kind of showcasing that off this year with a lot of white, just again, kind of emphasizing that theme of the rainbow connection, the people plant relationship. All right, so now we're down in my favorite garden at the Horticulture Center, and that's the prairie. I always like taking visitors to our prairie. Our prairie is about two acres or so, and we have several areas that we're trying to expand on. I really think it's important that we have a prairie here at ISU for our students to learn from. In horticulture, if we want our students to learn about landscapes, if we want our biology students or ecology students to learn about our native environments, I think it's important that there's a place that they can go to learn about that. So I really think it's critical that the center has its own prairie. And we're the prairie state in Illinois. And I also found with a lot of visitors, they have no idea that 61% of Illinois was covered with prairie at one time. And now about 2,200 acres, a little under 2,500 acres is all that remains of true remnant prairie. So it's really what we've lost is really a tragedy. That said, there's people all across the state that are trying to bring back, restore, or recreate prairies. So I think this is a strong movement across the state. One thing that I'd really like to share here is when you look out at the prairie, it starts early in the season with one plant blooming, then the next, and it's just a parade of colors all the way until the fall. So like you think, oh, I've seen a prairie once. Well, no, every time you come, something else is happening in that prairie. Another thing is, I think if you walk into it, you can feel the diversity in there. You can hear it, you can smell it. We're kind of on a humid day, but after a bunch of rain, and you can see that in our pathway here, we have standing water, where the prairie is very good at taking that excess water. And even on dry years, it kind of can handle that too. It's just really amazing. The other thing I'd say when you come to visit, really look at the prairie. I mean, as you're looking out there, you can see different things blooming. Like right now, we have the white baptisia blooming, which is one of the most elegant prairie plants. But if you look, you can see a big leaf plant. That's prairie dock. And if you look out there, like, oh, I see it over there, I see it over there. You can see, the baptisia over there and over there. So you can kind of see how this prairie functions. It's just this layering of flowering plants. And every time it's offering, nectar for certain plants or habitat. And collectively, it really is quite grand. So I really want to thank everybody for visiting today the Horticulture Center with me and taking the time to learn about the gardens. And I really want to do a huge thank you for all that have supported the center. Our biggest mission here is connecting people with nature. And that means a lot, and it takes a lot. And whether you're, a volunteer, a student, the community, our ISU community, I thank you, and I ask you to please continue considering supporting the center, because this is how the center runs. So thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the gardens.